Hello, and welcome to a holiday-themed episode of InnerMedia. I'm Josh Karam, and with me, as always, is Ted Karam.
Hey, guys.
And this time around, we are going to be talking about a bunch of holiday movies. It's the things that make us feel good all the time. You always have your set list of holiday films that you want to watch every time the holiday season comes around. Once Thanksgiving is over, it's like we gotta rush.
Well, we like to watch them all year, but...
That's yeah, you definitely have a way of being able to make sure that throughout the year, I know you're a big celebrator of Christmas in July, personally. I could definitely attest to that.
Halfway through the year, yeah.
So I think what we're going to do is we took a couple of our favorite holiday films that we think... Oh, you always leave feeling like something special, right? Like that Christmas magic, if we want to call it.
There's just a bunch of them that leave you that way.
You get that little magic feeling, and you're like, "Oh, that felt really good. What was that? What did I learn in this magical Christmas moment right here?" So we got a couple, and I think the best way to do it is we're going to start with a Master Wizard and Jedi quote. I know this technically is not a wizard; it is a warlock. But I think we could let that slide, having a warlock as a wizard quote here. This is actually the lyrics to a song, so I'm just going to read them out. If I want to see my reflection... should I sing it?
Go ahead, sing it.
If I want to change my reflection, I see in the mirror each morn. You mean it is just my election? To vote for a chance to be reborn! And then the Winter Warlock shouts up and screams. That, I think every year I watch it, that, like, it hits me differently each time. Because at first I was like, oh, the Warlock just sings part of the song. That's funny. But then I really took a look into those lyrics and hit me. So, I forgot to say, before we dive into anything too much, I know that everything we're about to talk about came out probably 50 plus years ago. But spoiler alert on the things we're about to talk about. In the description below, I will say exactly every film that we talk about. Just take a look at that beforehand and make sure that you check it out in case there's something you haven't seen after all this time and you're like, oh, I gotta see this right now. But yeah, spoiler alert. Now, let's start with Santa Claus is Coming to Town, right? Where that Winter Warlock song took place in. So, Kris Kringle is a Kringle. The Kringles make toys.
Yeah.
And the Kringles are too small. They can't make it over the mountain of the Winter Warlock. Because, like, he's scary. He's a bad guy. He doesn't want anyone trespassing over his mountain. So, Kris Kringle gets caught by the Winter Warlock. But what does he do to this man who's been evil for all of Kris Kringle's life, and whoever knows how much further before that he gives the Winter Warlock a toy. And nobody gives the mean old warlock a toy. Yeah,
right? Isn't that beautiful?
Who gives a gift to a mean old warlock? But he loves it. It's a choo-choo train. He's always wanted a choo-choo train. Yep. So I think the first part there we should talk about is... the gift of giving, right? I think that's going to come up.
The gift of giving. And that's what this holiday season's all about.
Yeah. Kris Kringle, besides the Winter Warlock here, gives gifts to everyone he meets. He is always warm and he's friendly with it. And the Winter Warlock's the icy heart melts away when he gives him the toy. And he becomes this new man that just known as simply Winter. You know, please call me Winter. And it begs the question at the beginning where he's like, can a mean old warlock actually change? I truly am a mean old creature.
Yeah.
So this happens, getting back to the song, which we started with. This song is called Put One Foot in Front of the Other. And is it really, I think this is going to come up in a lot of the other things we're talking about, but is it as simple from turning, according to the Winter Warlock, from bad to good with just a step? Is it that easy?
It can be, yes. And that's the magic of it all. That's the magic of what this season is all about. It's the miracle of life. It's the magic of the holidays. And so what does he do? Kris Kringle, he's a great analogy for life, right? So he meets with adversity. We all meet with adversity. We meet with difficult people. The Winter Warlock, who wants to capture him. The Burgermeister who wants to put him in jail. Yeah. Even Jessica, who thinks he's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Wearing the funny outfit and just, giving toys away and, what's wrong with you? So, and how does he meet that adversity in life? What is he doesn't react to it with negativity. He doesn't fight against it. He meets it with loving kindness. He meets it with giving a gift. And that's the real magic of giving. That's the power in giving. See, what we don't realize is whatever when we give, we really receive, right? Remember, as we sow, so shall we reap. Life is like a mirror. So whatever we're sending out all the time is what comes back to us. And he seems to know that at an unconscious or a conscious
You're
level.
right, because if I want to change my reflection, the image I see in the mirror each morn, yeah.
Right. So he talks about a chance to be reborn. That's what Christmas is all about. That's what the holiday season is all about. So if we hyphenate the word Christmas, Christ and Mass, what is Christ? Christ, the divine light, the I am presence, that divine being within us, that light in Mass, in material form, in the physical form. So Christmas, traditionally we celebrate it as the birth of Jesus, right? And it's a certain day. But as we talk about later, it's also a state of mind. It's also a state of being. It's also being the light. It's also bringing the light. When our inner light shines through our form, we're in the spirit of divine grace. We're in the Christmas spirit. We're in the holiday season.
Definitely. The Burgermeister almost changes too when he gets the red yo-yo that Chris
he
almost
almost
goes.
Aside. He almost tips.
He loves yo-yos.
Yeah. So with the Warlock, with the Winter Warlock, he, with that gift of the choo-choo train or whatever it was for him, right? He was able to open his heart and feel love. And that's what caused his icy heart to melt, right? That the light shining through him, coming through him, he opens himself up and he's transformed from bad to good in an instant, right? And that's all it takes. Now the Burgermeister, same kind of Kris Kringle comes from the same place of giving, loving, sharing. But the Burgermeister, for a moment, you see the little kid in him, the joy, the playfulness come out as he plays with the yo-yo. He allows himself to be natural. But then, sir, you're breaking your own law, right? So what does he do?
I've been bamboozled.
Exactly. And then he closes down. So he shuts down. So when we give our love, when we give freely of ourselves, sometimes it will be received openly. Other times it won't. But it shouldn't stop us from being the light and from giving from our heart, because what we give does come back to us. In other words, it unifies us. Giving allows your inner light to shine forth. And as our inner light shines forth, we become what? That's divine energy. The divine is shining through you. And what does it do? You unify with it. And now what happens? As this energy flows forward from you, it also flows into you and blesses your life. It brings us all the good things our heart desires. Now, what also is really cool is with Winter, the Warlock, he's a most despicable creature, as he calls himself, and evil and whatever. And what's really important here is it's reminiscent of, who do we give to in life? Do we just give to the people we like, the people we love, the people who are like us? Or are we willing to give to all embodiments of divine light? Right? There's only one divine presence. And that one light, that one life is disguised as me, is disguised as you, is disguised as everyone. Behind the facade, behind the illusion of appearance, there's divine light in everyone. So, when he gives to the Warlock, it seems, why would you give a toy or give a gift to a Warlock, an evil being? He follows that principle when Jesus says, whatever you do to the least of my brothers, you do unto me. In other words, whatever we do, whatever we give, however we address or act towards the very least, who are the least? Those we judge to be most unworthy. So whoever you're judging to be most unworthy, imagine giving to them instead of judging them. Imagine giving to them, and it may just be a gift of no longer judging, a gift of forgiveness. It doesn't. Our most powerful gifts, often our highest gifts, are not physical. It's a gift of a listening heart, a gift of presence. Just talking to someone, calling them up on the phone. a gift of a smile. It's harder to give these days, but through Zoom, we can give the gift of a smile, right?
Well, even in every gift Kringle gives, it's a gift that means something to that person. Whether it's the doll or the choo-choo or the red yo-yo, it was a smile, basically.
Yes. Yeah, and what it does is it brings us back into that state of innocence, that state of, there's a child within all of us. That's what Walt Disney knew better than anyone. There's a child within all of us. And during this holiday season, we might think, oh, well, they don't need this or they don't need that. Reach out, get beyond yourself. You may feel like you're too sad because there is a lot of challenges in our lives these days. You're too sad, you're too, you're hurt, you're too impoverished, too, just lonely. Whatever you're feeling this holiday season, if you can, reach beyond yourself, get beyond yourself, and still give anyway. Give the gifts of your presence, of your heart, of a listening ear, of just a few kind words. Give to everyone in your life, everyone you come across. Wish them well. Feel within yourself a desire for them to shine, for them to be illuminated, for them to come into their full presence, and be their true selves. And as you do that, as you give that, as you get beyond yourself, remember, as that energy goes out, that you're drawing it through you, and it comes back to you.
I think it's important to emphasize because at the end of the film, Fred Astaire's character goes to all of these adults in the real our time, if you will, and they're all like, Christmas, what a humbug. Yeah, I really wish...
Right.
Yeah, Christmas, I wish Christmas would end right now. Like, they all question, why does it... Why Christmas?
Right.
It's just
with so much sadness in the world.
Yeah.
How could we be celebrating? How could there be joy?
That's actually one of the better quotes. Yeah.
And that isn't that true about our world today? With so much loss, with so much, we may have lost a loved one, a loss of your health, a loss of your job, your business, just a loss of feeling secure anymore in such an uncertain world. How do we celebrate in those times?
Yeah.
And it's a good question, but I think it's so important to remember that we, even in the darkest of times, that's when we need most the light. So it's and where's the light? The light is in you. This is such an opportunity to realize we carry the light within us. And when we follow the guidance in some of these films, giving from our heart, giving unconditionally, giving to everyone, what happens is as we give, our light emerges, it shines forth, and it makes the world a little brighter. So it's so important in these times when things do seem very dark to reach within yourself and get beyond yourself and still give to those in your life.
And I think let's segue on then with that. Christmas is a frame of mind. It's not just a day, as quoted in Miracle on 34th Street. Moving on to the next one here. I think there's an interesting thing, right, with everyone, because that whole movie is a lot about, in general, just the commercialization of Christmas, where it's just about presents, or you got to buy from Macy's. Macy's has.
Well, that's true. Until Macy's started sending them over.
Yeah, exactly. That was the sweetest thing ever. I'm going to be a lifelong Macy's customer. I guarantee you. We're gonna have so many. It's so hard not to quote these movies when we're going through them. I don't know. I'm gonna stop myself.
Well, the first one you just said is so important, right?
Yeah.
And that was Christmas is not just a day.
Yeah.
It's a state of mind. And that's what Chris Kringle,
another
right?
Chris,
Christmas, even though it's in the physical world, in the world of form, we celebrate the birth of Jesus, right? So a certain day, certain time. But Christmas, as we talked about earlier, if we hyphenate that word, Christ or divine light shining through form, the physical body, that's universal. So the possibility of Christmas, in other words, being more Christ-like, being more divine presence, being more universal love, the opportunity to celebrate that, to be that, to express that is here every moment of every day. So it's a state of mind, it's a state of being, it's a unification of bringing together in harmony within ourselves a stillness and a light. Remember we've talked about before in Be Still and Know?
Yeah.
It was all about cultivating stillness and bringing forth our inner light. In Silent Night, I love that song, right? Silent Night. So Silent Night, all is calm, all is bright. What does that mean? That means we're bringing together within ourselves in harmony the two forces of nature, yin and yang. Yin being calm, stillness, and yang being bright, light. So when we can bring those two forces together within ourselves in harmony, we become an instrument of divine love. We become filled with the Spirit. We become inspired by the truth.
Now we have to cut back to those people, those mean old people in the end of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and the adult character, the jaded adult character, because Doris, the mother in Miracle on 34th Street, is mother to Natalie Wood's character, and she doesn't want her, believing in Santa or just being realistic with everything, not opening up to this, these beautiful tangibles, as you call it. Let me just read the quote up here.
Yeah.
The main character in the movie says this to Doris before he slams the door on her. Look, Doris, someday you're going to find that your way of facing this realistic world just doesn't work. And when you do, don't overlook those lovely intangibles. You'll discover those are the only things that are worthwhile. One of the best parts of the film right there. I think it's interesting because there's a lot of people who are like, what's all this Christmas spirit kind of thing, right? We can't be thinking about that right now. We can't be singing these Christmas songs and feeling these messages. Right. That's a holiday. Yeah. That doesn't exist in reality.
Yeah. We deal in the real world.
Yeah.
The real world of form. It's funny because when we're children, we hear these stories about Santa Claus with magical elves. But then, as we grow up, we've kind of grow out of that. We've let that go. But we want to still believe. We still want to believe in, instead of Santa with magical elves, it's Jesus or Christ with miraculous angels.
Yeah.
So really, is there much difference there? No. But what happens is as we grow up, we leave the world where we see more. As we grow older, we think our minds expand in terms of knowledge. We fill our minds with more knowledge, but our vision shrinks in terms of perception of reality. So when we are children, we are predominantly in alpha and theta brainwave states. So we're in our imagination. Yeah, this world is real, but there's a bigger piece to it, right? That adults don't necessarily see. It's the world of energy, and it's equally real. And so when we're kids, we believe in magic. We believe, we're just so open to the possibility of the miraculous. And then we try and hold on to that. But as we get older, we can't hear the bell anymore of Santa's sleigh, like in the Polar Express. And unless we are born again, unless we are remade anew, unless we are opened to the miracle of life again within us. And so as we get older, it's so important to remember to bring, to cultivate these forces of stillness and light within ourselves so that we can be renewed. We can see life through the eyes of a child again. There's a child within all of us, and we can begin to live and experience the magic of life once more.
So that's a good question, because Natalie Wood's character in Miracle on 34th Street is a young girl. She falls in love with Christmas and believing because she believes in him. She believes
Right.
he is Santa, and the mother eventually believes. And by court standing, everybody believes that he's Santa.
Right, in court,
but
yeah.
what do we say then to our friend Charles Dickens, who wrote Christmas Carol? Scrooge isn't a young kid. He's an old man. He is a man that has lived for many, many years. I mean, he's played by people in their 90s even. Like, he is an old person who is a miser. And he even can change, right?
At any time, on a dime.
How do you change when you're so jaded in a way? And I know that he had ghosts come to him. He even had Marley, who was dead to begin with. There's no doubt about that, because he lived his whole life as a miser. Right there. He was never living to begin with.
Even
he was
when he was
always
living,
sad.
he wasn't living, because he wasn't enjoying life. It can happen at any moment, and it happens in a moment, even though there may be a build-up to it, or appears to be a build-up to it. Transformation is instantaneous. And when we can, again, let go of who we think we are, get beyond it's all the conditioning we've built up in life. It's all the experiences we've had and the stories we tell ourselves about the nature of reality that we really believe. It's those subconscious beliefs. So in a moment, we can let go. And instead of trying to get somewhere, instead of trying to make things happen and struggling all the time, instead of trying to be a better person or trying to be more spiritual, what we do is we let go. We surrender. And in that letting go, there's an opening that happens within us. During this season, we also can give from our hearts. And in giving, there's an energy that begins to flow through us. And what happens is, as we let go, we're no longer trying to make something happen. We're allowing something to be welcome. And that something is a renewal. That something is a divine restoration. We become restored, renewed in the light of truth. And what we begin to realize is we begin to see and feel and experience a profound sense of peace, a deep sense of love, for no reason. It's like nothing's changed out here in the mirror of life, but we've changed. We've been renewed in the magic, in the miracle of life. And as a result, everything's changed for us. And we didn't make it happen. We allowed it to be welcome. We allowed ourselves to go through a transformation.
Yeah. Scrooge is someone who always considered things whether they are profitable or not, or they make sense logically. Like turning on the heat in his office, that's ridiculous. That costs money to do that. Why would I burn coal? And someone who's also had things taken from him when he was young. I mean, his sister, who was the only family member who cared about him, died. And he still held resentment towards her son, Fred, because he could never get over her. And then the love of his life, because he became a miser only caring about business, just left him because he thought Christmas was a humbug after a while. Marley would tell him, like, Christmas is a humbug, you don't need it. But you're right, in the end, it didn't matter, right? If you don't accept the gift of giving, when you're gone, there's nothing, right? You can't take it with you, Mr. Kirby.
No, there's that saying that we only get to keep what we give away. We only get to, why? Because as we give it, it finds its way back to us. And so those intangibles, as we talk about from 34th Street, and you know, Mr. Scrooge always, you know, just working in the outer world, trying to pursue what he thought would bring him happisa
Also, the poverty too, right? Like he was like, "Aren't there workhouses for those children?"
Right. Right. There's no compassion. There's a deep-seated separation where we feel isolated from everyone. We feel everyone's out to get us, and we get paranoid in life. But when we can, as he went through, have a revelation in one night with the
past, present, and
future
yet to come.
Visiting him, then those spirits helped him have a transformation within himself. And that transformation is an opening up to the light, opening his heart again. Because what happens is we all go through pain and suffering, right? And remember Anakin Skywalker, we talk about
Yes.
and turning to the dark side of the Force. We all go through pain and suffering and loss, and it depends on how long we are held by that, how long we stay in those emotional states, or we let them go and we move on. And the love we knew never left this world. It's still here. It transforms. It's energy, and energy's never created or destroyed. It just transforms, and we can open ourselves to experience love and joy. And that's what he has on that morning.
Yeah.
And the realization, it's not too late.
It's not too late to
It's
change.
not too late. And how exciting is that for all of us to realize, no matter what, it's never too late. We're never too old. Conditions are never going to hold us back, because the transformation comes from within.
Yeah. It's an explosion of happiness. And whenever you see it, when he wakes up, it's like a new person. He's been reborn. He voted for a chance to be reborn, which is great.
And what does that mean? That means he's come into the truth of his own self, his genuine, authentic, the real you. He's come into the real you, his divine nature, that spark of the divine within him.
Yeah.
He feels it. And there's nothing that can suppress that light when you allow it to shine.
Also, speaking on when we were talking in the True podcast, he learns to live with the past, the present, and the future. Like he promises to hold all of that together, which is very sweet. But I think there's a lot of regret during this time, right? Scrooge has lived a life, in the end, of regret. Like what he did in the past, he didn't want to watch it, because he can't live with himself after that. And I think, I don't know, it's probably, at the end of the night, you start getting all these crazy thoughts. At the end of the year, you start getting all these, you just think about everything that happened in the year. And I think we could go into the idea that people regret things, right? They're like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. And even to the extremes of like, oh, life would be better off if I was never born. Which is a perfect way to segue into It's a Wonderful Life by Frank Capra. I don't know if you noticed, I seeded in a "you can't take it with you" quote in there a little bit, just to start feeding onto It's a Wonderful Life. Because how can you not, on an InnerMedia podcast, talk about It's a Wonderful Life?
That's a great one.
It's in the title.
Yeah.
It's in the title.
Yeah.
So,
Jimmy Stewart.
I guess, I feel it's so hard, because I feel there's so many ways to start this, but I guess I want to just ask a simple question. There's so many people that I feel as though there's even times where you think to yourself, it's like, oh, I'm messing everything up. People would be better off if it was never there. We don't all have Clarence, right? We don't see the world.
Well, that we're aware of. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, dive right in.
We all do have guidance. Absolutely. But go ahead.
No, I'm honestly, that was the perfect thing, because that
we all do have
yeah.
guidance, but we live as though we don't.
Yeah.
Because we're not aware of it, so we don't feel the inner spirit. We don't feel the presence of angels. We don't feel the presence of past loved ones. We don't feel the presence of the divine, and as a result, we feel like we're alone. We feel like we're isolated. And every single human being, we all go through this process every day of judging ourselves. We're not good enough. We're not worthy enough. We're not worthy of being loved. We're just not smart enough. We're not this enough. We're not. And we just aren't okay being who we are. That's the voice of the ego. That's the little critic in our minds. And it's always judging us. So it's always driving us to improve ourselves, to learn more, to do this. But it will never, ever be happy. There's no satisfying it. The only way to really find happiness, joy, is to let all that go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learn new things. We develop our skills. We go wherever we're inspired to go, and we learn what we're inspired to learn, and we give what we're inspired to give. But we don't make the mistake of finding our sense of self and all that. Because what we really want to do is we really want to come home to the present moment where all is calm and all is bright, and know thyself. Because when we do, that self-realization, that knowing thyself, causes us to accept thyself. Because we're not just this little bundle of conditioning. we're a spiritual being having a human experience, and we're one with everyone else. Remember the waves on the surface of the ocean.
Yeah.
All the waves are connected through the body of one, the ocean of one. So we're really looking for we're really looking to express the truth of what we are. We're here to shine as you're here to shine as the unique embodiment of the one that you are. And a lot of times we beat ourselves up, we judge ourselves every single day.
Yeah.
And there is guidance, though. There is a clearance for each of us if we get still enough to listen. It's a small, still voice. We have to quiet down.
I guess when I watch the movie, there's times where I'm like, oh no, George Bailey didn't get what he wanted again. Like, oh no, something bad happened again, or his life didn't go the direction he wanted. What are the ways that we can fall in love with life again? What is the Zuzu pedals for us, right?
Zuzu pedals.
What is like him what is him running into the place and saying, isn't it wonderful? I'm going to jail.
Yeah, remember that? So in the end, I always hope that I can, after watching that, I pray, let me just remember that feeling.
Yeah.
That just to be so in love with life, so just in joy of being, so feeling so blessed, even if I don't have the money and I'm going to jail. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Like, who cares, right? It all becomes small stuff when we are in the magic of life, when we're connected with the divine, when we are feeling so in love. Now, George Bailey in this film, this is just amazing.
Yes.
He just gives. He just gives of himself over and over. He does it to help people, genuinely. He does it to help people get good, decent homes. He does it to help his brother. He does it to help his family. He's always giving of himself to help others first. And as a result, in the end of the film, he discovers he imagines he gets to experience life without him if he was never born.
Yeah.
And realizes, oh my God, look at how I've touched the lives of so many. And he gets to feel all the love he gave out. Again, this is the season of giving.
Yes.
When is the season of giving? Always, every day, every moment. But we can practice it now and allow it to continue through the new year. Why? Because as he did, as you give of your heart, as you give of your love, it all comes back to you. And didn't it all just pile up back to him in the end? Where he
was more than fine.
He's just, as we give, as we sow, so shall we reap. It's a universal law. So pay attention to what you're giving. We're giving all the time, even when it appears we're not doing anything. We're broadcasting our energy all the time. Our energy is always going out, and people are feeling it, and it's coming back to us. So what we want to do is get beyond ourselves, our reactive conditioning, let go of the problems of the past, let go of the pain of the past. It's hard, but at times, in time we want to let go so we can be free, so that we can be in joy. And he just comes into this amazing feeling of love for life that every time we watch it, I just want to remember it. It's the Christmas morning Scrooge. Wait, life is good. Life is beautiful. Life is fun. You can be silly. You can be light with life, because it's a miracle. It's a gift, and we need to appreciate it while it's happening, while it's unfolding.
Exactly. In the end, George Bailey's brother says, "Here's to my brother, the richest man in the world." I forgot if it's just in town, but in a sense, right? Because we think about our Mr. Potters and our Burgermeisters and our Jacob Marleys.
Right.
They were rich, but in the end, they had nothing. Yeah. They really had nothing.
Again, it comes down to that realization that we have a foot in the physical world and a foot in the energy world. There's two. We're riding a bicycle and finding our balance. And far too often, we're just looking at the outer world of form. We're in beta brainwaves, and we don't even see the energy. We don't even feel it. We've lost the magic of life. Yeah. And So when we're just focused in the world of form, we're just dealing with how to manipulate forms and trying to get what we, trying to fight for scarcity because we just perceive scarcity, and it leaves us empty in the end. There's nothing wrong with abundance and prosperity and all the good things of life, but when we're just chasing them, we find that they're hollow. They don't bring happiness. They don't bring fulfillment. They don't bring love. They don't bring joy. It's not in the things, it's in so instead of trying to pursue happiness that way, the holiday season, this season of the year especially, it's a call to interaction, to come back to the present moment where all is calm and all is bright, where in that silent night, in the peace of this moment, we are renewed in the joy of life. And so we don't look for it in the things outside of us. That's all a reflection in a mirror. We instead realize the source of that. It's in coming into union with, coming into oneness with divine presence.
Yeah. That's great. Honestly, I think this was a perfect holiday conversation. I'm happy we got through everything. At first it was like, oh boy, I don't know if we're going to get through I want to talk about 4 films today, but no, I think we glided through them really nicely. So thank you as always for a really fun holiday conversation, if I may say. In this holiday season. If you just a couple quick plugs here, if you want to learn more about The Real You, listen to other InnerMedias, everything, the best place to go is therealyou.net, which is THEREALU.net. Check out every link we have, links to our Facebook, social media, all of that. You can also subscribe to the newsletter there, and also with that email, ask us questions or comment with, hey, this film is really cool, or hey, you guys really need to talk about this TV show. I think there's something that I feel from this.
Yeah.
What is it? I want to tap into that Christmas magic, and there's Christmas magic everywhere. Where this movie makes me feel that magic. Please email us as well, or just in the comments of YouTube as well. Works. Every Thursday we release. Keep checking out InnerMedia. Subscribe to check that out. But in the end, I think the most important thing we should end off with from our family to yours, we want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah.
May the light and the love of the divine fill you this holiday season and bring you peace. And may it carry into the new year.
Happy holidays to you guys.
Happy
and remember,
holidays.
Just put one foot in front of the other.
It can be that simple. Just take the first step, lean in the direction of your heart's true desire, and let it lead your life.
Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.